is NBC Palm Springs.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Daytona Everett. Topping our news tonight. You may have noticed it's hot outside. We're experiencing a record-breaking heat wave. Palm Springs was at 120 degrees yesterday. The previous record high was 117. More records could be broken tomorrow, but this heat wave has other implications. Power companies are issuing warnings and in some cases rolling blackouts. Another issue, air quality with all the fires burning in Southern California. We'll have more on all that coming up, but let's start with those power outages. Last night from northern to Southern California, thousands and thousands of Californians are experiencing rolling blackouts. Remember those blackouts in the early 2000s? Yep, this is the same situation. In the Bay Area, 83,000 PG&E customers were without power, and in the Sacramento area, hundreds of thousands of homes were affected. Some of these homes didn't have power for 4 hours. And in Southern California, SCE had to cut power to about 132,000 homes. Those outages were all scattered. So what is the protocol for these blackouts? What happens is Cal ISO alerts utilities about a possible power emergency, and then utilities will cut off power because the state just simply does not have enough on the grids to meet these demands. But these outages shouldn't last long, typically no longer than 2 hours. Cal ISO issued an emergency alert last night that lasted for a couple hours. It has since turned into a warning. This is the first time that many Californians have experienced rolling blackouts since 2001. And power companies across California are asking customers to conserve power as the heat is definitely not going away anytime soon. They're asking everyone to set thermostats to 75 or 78 degrees or higher and to avoid using major appliances during peak hours. The heat is tough enough, but coupled with the smoke from this week's fires, you may have noticed the air quality in your neighborhood is terrible, even dangerous. Tony Shin has that story from the Inland Empire.
Just about everywhere you look in the Inland Empire, the air looks brown and unhealthy. Because it is.
It's just miserable. It's just a miserable situation.
Sheila Jocelyn says the excessive heat and bad air quality are making it hard for her to breathe.
I do have breathing problems, but it's because of my allergies. And it makes it harder when the air is not good.
Lingering smoke from recent fires like the Ranch Fire and the Lake Fire has dramatically affected air quality for many areas in Southern California, most notably valleys like Santa Clarita, San Gabriel, and much of the IE.
Smoke particles are considered foreign bodies. It's not something that the body is going to well receive, and in particularly people who have reserved lung capacity.
Dr. Victor Waters is the Chief Medical Officer at St. Bernardine Medical Center. He says when you combine excessive heat with unhealthy air, that combination can have a dangerous effect on certain people, including the elderly, very young children, and those who have underlying health conditions like asthma.
So therefore, when they are inhaling both the heat element and bad air, that makes the risk for them to get in trouble with their pulmonary diseases higher and more at risk.
That's why Dr. Waters and air quality experts are advising people who fall into the high-risk category to limit outdoor exposure and use your air conditioner while indoors.
I bought one of the better filters. You know, it was more expensive, but
That's exactly why Rick Gambino is replacing his home air filter. He's making sure he and his wife can breathe easier.
I think it's a good idea to take the advice of some of the professionals, some of the scientists, and stay inside. You know, stay safe.
That was Tony Shin reporting. We're taking a live look now from our Agua Caliente Casino cam. Kind of some crazy conditions out there today. It was a little bit hazy, but Jerry Steffen's here to break it all down for us. Hey, Jer.
Yeah, today was a day we haven't seen in quite a while. We had showers and thunderstorms in Southern California and a little bit of humidity, too. It's 105 right now. Winds light, 3 miles an hour, 24% relative humidity. A little bit of humidity, like I said, 20s again tomorrow, and that's for the Coachella Valley high. 73 right now at Big Bear, 95 still warm at Yucca Valley, 102, 29 Palms, 105 at Coachella, 110 still at Palm Desert, and 110 Cathedral City, 103 Rancho Mirage. Because of the temperatures are well above average, 115 or better, we have that excessive heat warning. One thing that has changed is that they extended it through Wednesday, and it could even be extended one day more through Thursday, as temps are going to be at 115 or better for the Coachella Valley. And it's not just the valley, it's much of Southern California under that warning through Wednesday. Also, we have a flash flood warning. That's about to expire because we did have showers and thunderstorms. This loop takes you back to around noontime. You can see how they flared up basically over higher elevations. A lot of monsoonal moisture moving in. It provided that lift, the mountains, and we saw showers and thunderstorms. Yeah, it all tapered off right now. A little bit of runoff from the Little San Bernardino Mountains could cause some street flooding still over the next half hour or so. Otherwise, we still have monsoonal moisture in the area, rotating around this high-pressure center, the same one that brings us the hot temps, 114 to 118 tomorrow. Could see some showers and thunderstorms develop in the mountains tomorrow, but not as widespread as we saw earlier today. 60 dew points tomorrow, and a Comfort Air 3-day forecast keeps us above average. 116 tomorrow afternoon. Monday, still up there, 117, 115 Tuesday. More the same on Wednesday. Full forecast, and that's 70 in just minutes.
All right, thank you, Jerry. Dry and hot, definitely not good conditions for these wildfires that are going on, but we do have some good news. The Apple Fire in Cherry Valley is 90% contained. It's burned more than 33,000 acres, and right now the countdown to full containment is Monday. In Los Angeles, the battle is just beginning, though, for two intense wildfires, and the heat wave we're experiencing here in Southern California, like Jerry was just talking about, could make things a lot worse. Steve Patterson is on the front lines.
Firefighters racing to contain a ferocious whirlwind of flames whipping into a fire tornado barreling toward homes. Fast-moving lake fire exploding to more than 11,000 acres, sparking 250 evacuations, devouring at least 5 structures, threatening 5,400 more. Towering flames shooting into the air, the fire, fueled by low humidity and a century of overgrown vegetation, is primed like a blast furnace by high temperatures at the beginning of a scorching weekend.
The sun beating down on the brush, it just makes it more flammable and ignites more quickly.
Crews have made progress, gaining some containment on this blaze, but that may change as these temperatures keep rising and resources are pulled to battle other fires.
Less than 50 miles away, the smaller but powerful Ranch 2 fire burned perilously close to hillside homes, triggering more evacuations. Firefighters setting back fires, creating a line, pushing the fire back and saving homes. Back at the lake fire, a show of spirit in the middle of a firestorm. Crews managing to save the stars and stripes from smoke and flames. Tenacity they'll need well into the weekend as this heat-driven blaze rages on. Steve Patterson, NBC News, Lake Hughes, California.
And we do have some updated numbers on those fires. The lake fire is at 12% containment and has burned over 14,000 acres. The ranch fire has burned 1,500 acres and is 0% contained.
Coronavirus coverage brought to you by East Valley COVID-19 testing site, serving residents of eastern Coachella Valley.
One issue that's a direct result of the coronavirus pandemic is food insecurity. It's one of the less talked about issues, but across the country, food banks are seeing high demand, skyrocketing actually, as many people lose their jobs and need to put food on the table. Here in the Coachella Valley, Find Food Bank has seen demand increase exponentially since the beginning of the pandemic. And now they're receiving help providing for the community. A food distribution this morning at Mary Pickford Theater ran out of supplies within the first half hour. Many lined up hours before the event even started and still had to be sent elsewhere for food and supplies. Arnico Payne explains.
5 months ago, when the pandemic first hit, members from Destiny Church saw a need in the community and decided to step in and help.
A lot of people were laid off or furloughed, so Destiny Church became really mobilized in helping the community, not only in Indio, where our main campus is at, but here in Cathedral City and throughout the Coachella Valley.
The church has partnered with Find Food Bank and the Mary Pickford Theater to provide food and supplies to the community. But be warned, they do run out fast.
The distribution starts at 8 o'clock, but people start lining up as early as 6:45.
With limited supplies, the food distribution only lasted for about 20 minutes. Cars and food were quickly cleared out of this area, but people were not left empty-handed. They were sent to the main church locations, who were able to house more supplies.
Riverside County gave us masks. They gave us 30,000 masks distributed to the community, and that's probably been our biggest hit. We had an influx of people show up. So if we were doing 100 cars 150 cars, it bumped up to 250, and we're averaging about 5 family members. So that's a lot of families that we're helping out.
Volunteers who've been helping out since the beginning of the pandemic say more help is needed.
It's definitely a time of need. It's a season where people are experiencing some financial hardships, and just being able to be here and even just give them a smile, even if we can only smile with our eyes.
The last 2 weekends, we've actually done a prayer service, and because they get here so early, they've really enjoyed that. They're walking away hopeful.
And to keep the effort going, Destiny Church is accepting donations as well.
Got supplies, or maybe you've got a store or a restaurant or something that you have the ability to, provide more stuff with. That would be great. We're always open to getting more help.
Everybody's welcome to come. If you're in need or want to add to your pantry, we are here.
Nico Payne, NBC Palm Springs.
Those masks Nico was talking about that are being donated are part of the county's Masks Are Medicine campaign. Riverside County is giving out 10 million masks distributed by local nonprofits, houses of worship, senior meal delivery programs, and local businesses. Everyone who visits a county or state-run testing location will also receive a mask. Now let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers for Riverside County and the Coachella Valley. The county doesn't report numbers on weekends, so these are as of Friday. There's over 45,000 cases in Riverside County, and 11,000 of those are in the Coachella Valley. 881 deaths in the county, 268 of those in the valley. We saw the effects of a technical glitch in reporting case numbers earlier in the week, but it has since been fixed and numbers have thankfully leveled off. The FDA has granted emergency authorization for a new saliva coronavirus test. Researchers from the Yale School of Public Health developed it. It appears to be fairly accurate, cheap, and fast, and it relies on commonly available reagents. The NBA funded the test development, and teams give it to asymptomatic players. In tonight's You Ask, We Investigate report, you may have heard online rumblings about the Mary Pickford Theater, which we were just talking about, closing. Thankfully, the rumors are not true, but the truth is the theater is struggling. Our Kitty Alvarado has more.
Oh my God, we're back at my happy place.
The Mary Pickford Theater is beloved by many, including Christian Sesma. He's a local filmmaker who's made it to the big time, but this theater in Cathedral City holds a special place in his heart. He even celebrated his birthday here.
Best birthday ever.
There have been rumors on social media this place might be closing for good.
It would be massively heartbreaking. Absolutely. I mean, this is what I've always said has been like my happy place, the movie theaters, and especially Mary Pickford. I'm from here, born and raised here. Obviously, my career started here.
We asked Ted Haynes, the general manager, about the rumors.
No, we have zero plans of closing.
He says the confusion may have started with a national campaign to bring awareness about the financial hardships theaters like his are facing and the need for federal help.
Theaters as a whole have basically been turned off. And if you don't have income coming in for 5 or 6 months, it's going to financially cripple that business.
Until they can fully open, they're trying to find ways to screen movies and may announce something soon. For now, they're focusing on giving back to the community they love by feeding those in need with food drives on Saturdays, and soon they'll be adding a COVID testing site.
We're part of that exciting and kind of escapism, but that isn't necessarily all that what people need now. And we can't provide that, so we've kind of shifted gears into what we can help provide.
Sesma says he can't wait for the Pickford to open up again because there's nothing like watching a movie in a theater.
Movies have the power to change lives, and it's obviously changed my life. I mean, this is what I do for a living.
Kitty Alvarado, NBC Palm Springs.
They say 2 of their theaters in Mammoth and Banning are having a tougher time. Remember, if you have a story you'd like us to look into, email us, news@nbcpalmsprings.com. You ask, we investigate. Coming up after the break, as mail-in voting becomes more likely for the election, the Postal Service is removing sorting machines and mailboxes. The problems this could pose come November. Plus, 7 months into the pandemic, workers are really starting to feel the effects of working from home. We'll look at a couple of cases up next. We do have some breaking news. President Trump's younger brother, Robert, has died at the age of 72. The president made the announcement in a statement. He visited his brother at a New York City hospital yesterday. The president did not say how long his brother had been hospitalized or why. We'll continue to follow this story. Now to the battle over the post office. Late today, President Trump defended the agency's chief amid recent slowdowns and new concerns over how that could impact the elections. Kelly O'Donnell has the very latest.
Inviting cameras inside. Late today, the president added a news conference here at his Bedminster property. 80 days until the election, and vote by mail is enveloped by politics.
Universal mail-in voting is going to be catastrophic. It's going to make our country a laughingstock all over the world.
A side effect of the pandemic is greater demand for mail-in ballots. The U.S. Postal Service warned states that with more volume and late ballot request deadlines, some votes may not be processed in time.
But the steps the Postmaster General is taking are creating some delays now.
No, the steps he's creating.
Are you trying to discourage?
No, not at all. The steps that he's taking are trying to stop the tremendous losses that have taken place for many, many years. He's trying to streamline the post office and make it great again. Okay?
Today, Ohio's Republican Secretary of State urged voters to act quickly.
Second, we have up to 10 days after the election to receive it. And so those votes will be counted. But what we need to reassure every Ohioan and remind every Ohioan is do not delay.
Protesters gathered outside the home of new Postmaster General Louis DeJoy, a Trump donor. The Postal Service has long been under financial strain. DeJoy is under scrutiny for reducing costs that eliminated jobs, cut overtime, and led to mail delays. He defended as unintended consequences. Today, Democrats said delays hurt more than voting.
It will hurt our seniors, our veterans, others that depend on their medications by mail.
Some veterans say not getting medications on time is life-threatening.
The VA has been rock solid with our scripts. They are really, really champions, and this disruption is killing us.
An inspector general announced plans to examine the operational changes, while the post office promised to stop the removal of any mailboxes until after the election. Kelly O'Donnell, NBC News, with the president at Bedminster.
A senior U.S. official is calling for an investigation into last week's blast in Beirut. The explosion killed 172 people and injured 6,000. Diplomat David Hale visited the port today along with the U.S. ambassador to Lebanon. The August 4th blast was caused by more than 2,000 tons of ammonium nitrate that had been unsafely stored at the port since 2013. Hale said FBI agents would be arriving this weekend to help investigate. They're looking into negligence, an accident, or external interference. Israel and the United Arab Emirates have struck a historic deal to establish diplomatic relations with each other. While many diplomats from around the world welcome the move, some are criticizing it. Major stakeholders say they weren't consulted. NBC's Matt Bradley reports from London.
Well, ever since we heard about that deal just 2 days ago, we've heard congratulations flowing in from around the world. This is something that diplomats and many countries throughout the world have welcomed. But there's some problems here. The Palestinians were not consulted on any of this, they've since reported, and they've been basically left out of this deal. That's the fact of the matter is that they are a major stakeholder, of course, in the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. And even if you look at the statement from the United Arab Emirates, they don't mention the Palestinians except for once in the last paragraph. At the very end, we heard from Turkey. The president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, threatened to sever ties with the United Arab Emirates over the UAE having diplomatic ties with Israel. We've also been hearing from Iran. Iran is saying that this is a betrayal, but really they have their own geostrategic things to think about when it comes to these deals. Israel has been leaning on Gulf Arab countries and recruiting them to their own ends, because at the end of the day, this just goes to show that for many Arab countries throughout the Middle East, Iran has eclipsed Israel as the main antagonist of the Arab world. And this is just another example of that. And that's why Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, he can look forward to other Gulf Arab states possibly joining the UAE and making their own diplomatic relationship with Israel. And that would be a major change for the entire region. Matt Bradley, NBC News, London.
We'll be right back after the break. But first, Jerry, it's been a little bit hot out there, I think.
And humid, too. Yeah, the humidity has been up, making it feel a little uncomfortable outside. We did have active thunderstorms. Looking at our Agua Caliente Casino cam, no rain here in the valley, but we saw quite a bit of around us. We'll take a look at where that happened next. Nice quiet picture on our Walter Clark cam downtown, and basically skies are clearing over the Coachella Valley. Did not see any rain here, but there was quite a bit of it in the mountains earlier today. Now, as far as temperatures, we were basically above average again. 114, well above that 106 normal for this time of year for Palm Springs. Current temps, 106 at Desert Hot Springs, 100 Cabazon, 96 at Banning, 70 Big Bear, 99 at 29 Palms. So with a little bit of humidity in the air, those numbers are going to stay above average for overnight lows tonight. Still have a flash flood warning with those thunderstorms that did develop over the Little San Bernardino Mountains in the high desert area. Joshua Tree could see some flooding with runoff from the mountains. Here's a look at the radar beginning at around 11 noon this morning. You can see the storms basically over higher elevations. A lot of monsoonal moisture being pulled up from the south to the northwest, and they've all come to an end. But here's a closer look at some of those areas where we saw thunderstorms. This is basically over the Santa Santa Mountains, and some of that was pushed to the northwest over the San Gorgonio Pass area. Again, that has come to an end. Also in the Little San Bernardino Mountains and the big Little San Bernardino Mountains, we saw quite a bit of activity there. This is the area of concern we saw earlier today. Quite a bit of rain sitting over the same spot. That's why we had flooding issues earlier today. That too has come to an end. So a little bit of cloud cover around us, basically perimeter mountains. Cloud cover around Southern California. A lot of monsoonal moisture still being pushed in our area, and that could lead to maybe a mountain storm tomorrow, not as widespread expected for Sunday. Overnight lows going to stay on the warm side, should be in the 70s. Instead, overnight lows near 90 for many of us tonight through tomorrow morning. And high pressure still in the area. The same ridge of upper level high pressure, which brought us the hot weather, is still sticking around, but also in a position where it's funneling some of that monsoonal moisture into Southern California. Lesser chance of rain for around our mountains. Most of it around the coastline and to the north, but best shot of rain tomorrow will be in the San Bernardino Mountains, nothing for the Coachella Valley. And then as we move into Monday, same areas, maybe even the Santa Santa Mountains getting a pop-up thunderstorm in the middle of the afternoon. As far as dew points, they're up there like they were earlier today. Tomorrow in the 60s, triple digits. On Sunday begin at 10 o'clock. 110s will begin to pop up as early as noon around the Coachella Valley. So tomorrow's highs, 116s, 117s, 118s for the valley. Close close to 110 in the high desert and easily above 100 degrees in the San Gorgonio Pass. And then we move to Monday. Yeah, same range of temps for the Coachella Valley. And because of that, we have an excessive heat warning still in effect, but the National Weather Service extended it, as I thought they would, through Wednesday. And with numbers still up there Thursday, that could be pushed one more day in the future. That includes the Coachella Valley, much of Southern California. As far as surface moisture, you felt the humidity. It's still going to be there. 60-degree dew points tomorrow, and basically for the rest of the week with middle of the day relative humidity around 20%. Here's that Comfort Air 7-day forecast. As you can see, above 115 for many of us over the next several days. May get a little bit of a break on Friday. And keep in mind, at least from today's viewpoint, the very next chance of maybe seeing a few sprinkles in the Coachella Valley Friday and next week.
Welcome back. Now time for a look at your NBC Palm Springs sports headlines. Bad news for Major League Baseball. Coronavirus appears to have breached another clubhouse. The Athletic is reporting that an unnamed Cincinnati Reds player has tested positive for COVID-19. News of the positive test broke after the team's game against the Pittsburgh Pirates yesterday, potentially exposing both teams. Today's game between the two was postponed. Two unnamed Reds players had previously tested positive during summer camp, though the team hasn't had any known cases since the season began. Some pre-playoff excitement at the NBA bubble in Orlando as the Grizzlies battled the Trailblazers in the first play-in game. The Blazers came in as the 8th seed and the Grizzlies the 9th seed, meaning the Grizzlies needed 2 wins to advance to the playoffs. The Blazers would come out on top in a close one, taking the win 126-122. Damian Lillard led the way with 31 points and 10 assists. The Blazers will now take on the top-seeded Lakers when the playoffs start next week. The New Orleans Pelicans announced today that they've dismissed head coach Alvin Gentry. This comes after a disappointing showing at the NBA bubble. In 5 seasons, Gentry went 175 and 225 as the New Orleans coach, ranked second all-time in franchise history. He had 1 year left on his contract. The Pelicans joined the Chicago Bulls and the Brooklyn Nets as NBA teams currently in the market for a new head coach. Some excitement early today on the PGA Tour. An early start this morning to get ahead of some bad weather at the PGA Wyndham Championship. And Siwoo Kim was off to a fast start himself. This is the South Korean's tee shot on the 161-yard par 3 third hole. Take a look at this. Kim takes dead aim, tees off. That's a hole-in-one. Almost finding the cup on the fly. Kim is 13th on the leaderboard, and he's lucky 13 today. That's it for sports. When we come back, though, a look at today's top stories involving extreme heat. You had to have felt it. We'll have details after the break. You may have noticed it's hot outside. We're experiencing a record-breaking heat wave. Palm Springs was at 120 degrees yesterday. The previous record high was 117. More records could be broken tomorrow, but this heat wave has other implications. Power companies are issuing warnings and in some cases rolling blackouts. Another issue, air quality, with all the fires burning in Southern California. We'll have more on all that coming up, but let's start with power outages. Last night from Northern to Southern California, thousands and thousands of Californians were experiencing rolling blackouts. Remember those blackouts in the early 2000s? Yeah, this was the same situation. In the Bay Area, 83,000 PG&E customers were without power, and in the Sacramento area, hundreds of thousands of homes were also affected. Some of these homes didn't have power for 4 hours. And in Southern California, SE had to cut power to about 132,000 homes. Those outages were all scattered. So what is the protocol for these blackouts? What happens is CalISO alerts utilities about a possible power emergency, and then utilities will cut off power because the state just simply doesn't have enough on the grid to meet these demands. But the outages shouldn't last long, typically no longer than 2 hours. CalISO issued an emergency alert last night that lasted for a couple hours. It has since turned into a warning. This is the first time many Californians have experienced rolling blackouts since 2001. Well, the heat is tough enough, but coupled with the smoke from this week's fires, you may have noticed the air quality in your neighborhood is terrible, even dangerous. Tony Shin has that story from the Inland Empire.
Just about everywhere you look in the Inland Empire, the air looks brown and unhealthy. Because it is.
It's just miserable. It's just a miserable situation.
Sheila Jocelyn says the excessive heat and bad air quality are making it hard for her to breathe.
I do have breathing problems, but it's because of my allergies. And it makes it harder when the air is not good.
Lingering smoke from recent fires like the Ranch Fire and the Lake Fire has dramatically affected air quality for many areas in Southern California, most notably valleys like Santa Clarita, San Gabriel, and much of the IE.
Smoke particles are considered foreign bodies. It's not something that the body is going to well receive, and in particularly people who have reserved lung capacity.
Dr. Victor Waters is the chief medical officer at St. Bernardine Medical Center. He says when you combine excessive heat with unhealthy air, that combination can have a dangerous effect on certain people, including the elderly, very young children, and those who have underlying health conditions like asthma.
So therefore, when they are inhaling both the heat element and bad air, that makes the risk for them to get in trouble with their pulmonary diseases higher and more at risk.
That's why Dr. Waters and air quality experts are advising people who fall into the high-risk category to limit outdoor exposure and use your air conditioner while indoors.
I bought one of the better filters. You know, it was more expensive, but
That's exactly why Rick Gambino is replacing his home air filter. He's making sure he and his wife can breathe easier.
I think it's a good idea to take the advice of some of the professionals, some of the scientists, and stay inside. You know, stay safe.
That was Tony Shin reporting. We are taking a live look from our Agua Caliente Casino cam. Just less than ideal conditions to be outside today. Jerry Steffen's going to break it all down for us. Jerry, what do you think?
Probably noticed the humidity's up a little bit since last week when it was very dry around the area, and temps, yeah, they were up too. Still 107 degrees in Palm Springs, 28% relative humidity. Not Florida humidity, which I was used to for about 2 decades, but yeah, for the desert, that's up there, and you can feel it outside. 70 at Big Bear, doing a temp check in and around the valley, 95, and some clouds at Yucca Valley, 100 degrees still at 29 Palms, 106 at Desert Hot Springs, 103 at Indio, 107 Palm Desert, Rancho Mirage, 104 at this hour. Yeah, we have that excessive heat warning still in effect, but it has been extended through Wednesday now, and maybe even Thursday. We have a week of excessive heat for not only the Coachella Valley, High Desert, San Gorgonio Pass, but just about all of Southern California. That extends into Arizona, by the way, too. Flash flood warning. This is about to disappear. The thunderstorms for Southern California have come to an end. But yeah, we have this running till about, I think, another 10 minutes or so over the Little San Bernardino Mountains and Joshua Tree. You can see what happened earlier today with the thunderstorms, especially over the mountains. All that moisture moving up to the north. Orographic lift shower activity over the San Bernardino Mountains and, of course, up to the north as well. Basically, we'll see the same tomorrow, but not as widespread. We still have monsoonal moisture over the area. High pressure will keep those temps above average, 114 to 118 tomorrow. And those dew points, like earlier today, in the 60-degree range. Comfort Air 3-day forecast. Tomorrow, 116. About the same Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, possibly even Thursday with that excessive heat over Southern California. Full forecast and 7-day in minutes.
Yeah, I guess I'll take California over Florida any day. All right, thank you, Jerry. Switching gears now to some coronavirus news. COVID's new threat, cases among children now going up. This as some schools return in person for learning. Here's NBC's Blaine Alexander.
Tonight, a new warning from the CDC. COVID-19 cases among children are steadily rising. Researchers say children ages 17 and under account for more than 7% of COVID cases, adding to the difficult decision facing parents and teachers how to handle back to school. Students in Cherokee County, Georgia end week 2 of classes with more than 1,600 in quarantine, twice as many as the end of the first week of school.
To send your child for 6 to 8 hours a day into what I've heard some people refer to as a war zone with this illness, it just creates a new havoc in your life.
In Arizona's J.O. Combs Unified School District, a teacher sick out is forcing officials to cancel Monday's return to classes.
I'm gonna just take your temperature, if that's okay.
And as more college campuses welcome students back, for some, excitement is giving way to anxiety.
I'm really nervous about classes being in person. I think that's a really big risk. I could hear parties happening last night from my apartment.
At UNC Chapel Hill, clusters of COVID in at least 3 student dorms or houses. Notre Dame reporting 29 new cases. And at Villanova, this unofficial gathering drew hundreds of students, the tent erected as an outdoor classroom. Also moving in, students at the University of Georgia, as the state's governor, who has long opposed a statewide mask mandate, signs a new executive order allowing cities to enforce their own, but exempting businesses from being forced to comply. A sharp turn after suing, then withdrawing a lawsuit over Atlanta's mask requirement and COVID restrictions. It comes as the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reports new concerns from the White House Coronavirus Task Force that Georgia's current policies are not enough to stop the state's widespread and expanding cases, recommending bars and clubs in high-case areas should close, something we asked the U.S. Surgeon General earlier this week.
I think it is important to consider the things that the task force has always talked about, avoiding bars, closing down, or limiting indoor dining.
Should those reopenings be rolled back, in your opinion?
Well, one of the things that we know is that people will find a way to go out. And so we need the people of Georgia to understand the importance of social distancing.
That was Blaine Alexander reporting. Coming up after the break, 7 months into the pandemic, workers are starting to feel the effects of working from home, and I can understand why. We'll take a look at several cases up next. Seven months into the pandemic, workers are starting to feel the effects of working from home. Emotions are ranging from anxiety to depression. Dan Sheneman reports.
Months of working from home is starting to wear on some employees.
It takes a lot more effort than the natural going around talking to someone over coffee or having a meeting in a conference room.
Amir Newman is a New York City-based practice lead for a data analytics company and feels the line between home and work has become blurred.
The workday is no longer a 9 to 5.
While a large number of workers across the country are grateful for the flexibility of working at home, many feel beaten down.
The majority of professionals are actually now working more hours than before.
Lauren Appen, co-founder of the business networking app Fishbowl, says thousands of their users are burned out.
69% of professionals say that they feel burned out, and actually 37% say that burnout is causing them to look for a new job.
The MarTech Group surveyed 1,000 people about the lasting effects of working from home. Mental health topped the list of concerns.
We came up with these 4 buckets of people that range from people who are thriving on one end in their response to people who feel trapped and are having some serious mental health issues.
And that trap group is struggling the most.
They're feeling I'm isolated, I'm lonely.
Everybody in all professions and all industry has to understand that everybody's going through the same thing.
Experts say how employers and management handle engagement with their employees has a big impact on the level of their happiness. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.
All right, we'll be right back after the break, but first, Jerry.
Yeah, it was humid outside earlier today. We saw widespread showers and thunderstorms. Nothing for the Coachella Valley. No rain here. As you can see, kind of quiet and no rain on the pavement and our Walter Clark cam. But as far as what we can expect over the next few days, basically, yeah, chance of mountain thunderstorms and hot weather will stick around. How long? I'll let you know next. Hey, good Saturday evening. Walter Clark cam. Clear skies over the valley. Still some mountain clouds around us. It was a hot one earlier today. What's the temp? Basically, it was up there. 114 the high, 106 the average, 107 Palm Springs, currently 129 Palms, 99 at Cabazon, Big Bear 70. Yeah, nothing really going on right now. We did have a flash flood warning. That just disappeared. It was basically around the Joshua Tree area, Little San Bernardino Mountains because of the thunderstorm activity we had earlier today. And here's a look, taking us back to noon and all that moisture triggering mountain thunderstorms earlier today. And even in the high desert, that lingered until about 6 o'clock, and then things began to quiet down. So nothing going on now. Santa Ana Mountains saw some activity. Again, that is over and done with. That pushed some rain into the San Gorgonio Pass. San Bernardino Mountains, some activity there. Most intense, though, was basically around the high desert. We saw intense thunderstorms basically sitting over the same area. That's why they issued flash flood warnings for that area. And as you can see, nothing happening now. So partly cloudy skies over Southern California, clear over the valley, mountain clouds still kind of hanging around Southern California. Monsoonal moisture still in place and will be for the next several days. So temperatures, because of the moisture at the surface, are not going to be where they should be in the 70s. Instead, it's going to hang on to that heat. So upper 80s, even a few 90s for overnight lows for late tonight through tomorrow morning. Now, high pressure still in the neighborhood as it has been over the past couple of days, ensuring those numbers will be above average. 114 to 118, the range of highs for tomorrow, but also playing a role in kind of pulling up some of that moisture over Southern California. Will we see rain tomorrow? Not as widespread. Matter of fact, our forecast only puts a few pop-up thunderstorms in parts of the San Bernardino Mountains. And then Monday, yeah, more of the same, a little more activity. Even the Santa Ana Mountains could see a pop-up thunderstorm in the afternoon. Like today, 60-degree dew points tomorrow. Triple digits begin as early as 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And you're going to see the numbers get into the 115 plus category for tomorrow and again on Monday afternoon. So because of that, excessive heat warning still in effect through Wednesday now. It has been extended, could even be pushed to Thursday. Not only the Coachella Valley under that warning, but much of Southern California again through Wednesday. So surface moisture going to be up there too. Those 60-degree dew points are going to stick around through at least Wednesday. So our Comfort Air 7-day forecast has us above average. Excessive heat, that'll be all the way through Wednesday before the numbers come down on Friday. But still, 112 on Friday for this time of year is still above average.
Hello, movie buffs! Looking for new movies and shows to see? Get ready! There's a lot. On Amazon Prime Video, there's World's Toughest Race Eco Challenge Fiji with host Bear Grylls.
671 kilometers.
This 10-episode series is like Survivor and The Amazing Race, but true to its title, it's tougher.
It's so hard.
Diversity is at the heart of the show, with LGBTQ team members and some battling Alzheimer's.
I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
Brace yourself for World's Toughest Race. This one's quite addicting. On Apple TV Plus, the documentary Boys State premieres. The Sundance winner is about teenage boys from Texas learning democracy. But the irony of it all, there's a lot that you can learn from them.
And I'm running for governor.
And then there's the drama Made in Italy from IFC Films, now available on demand.
No, it's an app. It's on your phone. On your phone!
Michal Richardson teams up with real-life dad Liam Neeson about the family dynamics of a father and son who must learn how to love each other to honor the mom. Michal's mother is the late, great Natasha Richardson, which gives the film its much-needed gravitas.
It's ultimately a sweet homage to your mom.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And on Netflix, get ready to laugh. First, we have Sam J, 3 in the morning.
Packing, she was packing, I was packing.
The former Saturday Night Live writer takes the stand-up stage to talk about her wild and crazy life.
True. That was good.
And Rob Schneider, another SNL veteran, returns to the stand-up world for Asian Mama, Mexican Kids. The biggest takeaway from the series, he can actually sing.
What's left of my voice?
5, 6, 7, 8.
And finally, also on Netflix, the dance rom-com Work It. Sabrina Carpenter stars as a college applicant who must learn how to dance in order to enter. But what if she has 2 left feet?
Fine. Full of love and emotion and joy.
This one is crazy fun and will make you dance your blues away. I'm Manny the Movie Guy. Dance for all these new shows and movies.
We are here inside Desert AIDS Project, about to award our essential. We are here inside Desert AIDS Project, about to award our Essential Worker of the Week. She has no idea she's right here. Come on. Kimmy Miller? Kimmy Miller, can you please step forward? I'm Thalia Hayden with NBC Palm Springs. You are our Essential Worker of the Week. Turn around. I know you're completely surprised, but your coworkers and your bosses absolutely adore you. They say you are the PPE lady. You are on the front lines, that you do so much for everybody and everything here. So you are awarded by Toyota and Honda of the Desert with $1,000. Thank you.
That's really evil. I didn't know. I thought I was supposed to stand here and just say hi.
The other thing is that you will be featured on television, so prepare for that.
Thanks.
How does it feel to know that you're so loved?
Fabulous. Thanks.
Just amazing work. We learned about you a little bit yesterday and this morning, but just so proud of what you do. And we understand that you led the charge starting like when COVID first started happening. And you're on the front line, involved in testing, involved in ensuring everybody's safety here. And just you're a Valley hero. So we really, really appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
On Sunday, March 15th, we got the call. Come down, we're setting up a COVID clinic. Having somebody who's calming, who's getting us PPE supplies, who's being a warm smile and being professional throughout all of that, because we've literally taken tens of thousands of calls, of which she's helped train and taken herself, and served thousands of COVID patients.
Yay, Kimmy. We'll be right back after the break.
Take a picture of it.
So I'm teaching Jerry a lesson right now, a QR code. If you don't know what it is, he doesn't either. You're going to point your phone's camera at the square, and it literally takes you directly to all these social media sites below for NBC Palm Springs.
So all I have to do is hold your camera up to this thing.
You open your camera.
That's all you do?
Yes.
What
Open
if you
it up.
just want to take a picture of it?
I mean, I guess you could do that if you want to. It just defeats the whole purpose. So if Jerry can do it, anyone can do it. We'll see you tonight.